Hi, my name is Brianna and I work for the Live Oak Public Library. Today I will be reading The Golden Bird as retold by Philip Pullman from Fairy Tales from the Brothers Grimm. This story was selected to fit the theme of our summer reading program this year, Tales and Tales, which explores both fairy tales and animals alike. In the old days, there was a king who had a beautiful pleasure garden behind his palace, and in this garden there was a tree that bore golden apples. Every year, once the apples were ripe, the king had them counted and numbered, but one year, the very morning after the count was taken, one was found to be missing. The head gardener reported this to the king, and as a result, the king ordered the tree to be guarded every night. So important was this task that he sent his 3 sons to carry it out. On the first night he sent the eldest, but the prince couldn't stay awake, and at midnight he was fast asleep. In the morning another apple was missing. The next night he sent his second son, but he didn't get on any better. When the clock struck 12, his eyes were closed, and in the morning one more apple was gone. Then it was the third son's turn. The king didn't altogether trust him, and was reluctant to let him take guard. But the young man persuaded him, and finally the king agreed. Like his brother, the third son lay under the tree and settled down for a long watch, determined to fight off sleep. As the bells of midnight sounded from the palace, there was a rustling among the leaves above him, as a beautiful golden bird flew down and settled on a branch. It shone so brightly it was as if the whole garden was illuminated by 1,000 lights. The young prince watched carefully, taking aim with his bow and arrow, and as the bird pecked off an apple, he shot an arrow up into the tree. The bird flew away at once, but one of its golden feathers floated down to the grass. In the morning the prince took the feather to the king and explained what had happened. The king called a meeting of the Privy Council, and everyone examined the feather, and they decided that a feather like this was worth more than the kingdom itself. "Well, if it's that precious," said the king, "I can't be expected to make do with just one feather. I want the whole bird, and I'll have it. See if I don't." So the eldest son set out to find the bird, convinced he was clever enough to find it and bring it back. He had only gone a little way when he saw a fox sitting on the edge of the forest, watching him. The prince raised his gun and took aim, but the fox cried out, "Don't shoot! I'll give you a piece of advice. You're looking for the golden bird, aren't you? Well, if you carry on this way, you'll come to a village with 2 inns, one on each side of the road. One will be brightly lit, with the sounds of songs and laughter, but don't go there, whatever you do. Go to the other one, even if you don't like the look of it." The prince thought, "Call that good advice? How can a stupid animal like that give me any advice?" And he pulled the trigger, but the fox was too quick. In a moment he was away into the dark trees, his tail stretched out behind him. The prince went on his way, and as evening fell he came to the village, which was just as the fox had described. 2 inns stood there, one brightly lit and full of sounds of merry-making, the other dismal and dark. "Well, I'd be a fool if I stayed at that miserable hovel," he thought, and he went into the cheerful place, had a high old time, and forgot all about the golden bird, his father, and all the good lessons he had learned. After some time had gone past, and the eldest son showed no signs of returning, the second son in his turn set out to look for the golden bird. Like his brother, he met the fox, listened to his advice, took no notice of it, and came to the 2 inns. And there was his brother calling out to him, and he couldn't resist. He went in and lived it up, forgetting everything but his pleasure. More time went past, and then the youngest prince asked if he could go off and try his luck. But his father had other ideas. "It's futile," he said to the prime minister. "He's got even less chance of finding the bird than his brothers did, and if he meets any danger, he won't know how to look after himself. Frankly, I don't think he's all there." However, the prince kept asking, and in the end the king gave way. The young man set off just as his brothers had done, and he found the fox sitting in the same place and offering the same advice. The prince was a good-natured boy, and he said, "Thank you, little fox. Don't worry, I won't harm you." "You won't regret it," said the fox. "Now if you just sit on my back, I'll take you to the village in a brace of shakes." The prince did as he said, and off set the fox, speeding up hill and down dale so fast that the wind whistled through the prince's hair. When they came to the village, the prince, following the fox's advice, stayed in the shabby inn, where he spent a quiet and comfortable night. Next morning he went out to the road, and found the fox there waiting for him. "Since you were sensible enough to take my advice," said the fox, "I'll help you with the next part of the journey. We're going to a castle now, with a whole troop of soldiers outside it. Don't take any notice of them, because they'll all be lying on the ground, fast asleep and snoring. Go right through the middle of them and into the castle itself. Go straight through all the rooms to the last one of all, and there you'll find the golden bird. It'll be in a wooden cage. Nearby there's a golden cage as well, but ignore that. It's just for decoration. Remember, whatever you do, don't try and take the bird out of the simple cage and put it in the fancy one. If you do, there'll be trouble." When he said that, the fox stretched out his tail again, the young prince sat on his back, and off they went as fast as before. When they reached the palace, the fox remained outside, and the prince went in, where he found everything just as the fox had said. He went through all the rooms and found the golden bird in its wooden cage with the golden cage beside it. The 3 golden apples were there too, laying on the floor. The wooden cage looked so ugly and the golden one so beautiful that the prince felt he had to put things right, despite what the fox had said, and he took the bird out of the wooden cage and put it in the golden one. As soon as he did that, the bird uttered such a piercing cry that the soldiers outside all woke up at once, and they rushed in, took the young man prisoner, and carried him off to the dungeons. Next morning he was brought before the court. He admitted everything, and the judge sentenced him to death. However, the king of that country liked the look of the young prince, and said he'd spare his life on one condition. The prince had to bring him the golden horse that ran faster than the wind. If he did, the sentence would be annulled, and he would receive the golden bird as a reward. The prince set off, but without much hope. In fact, he had no idea where to find the horse and how to start looking, and he felt pretty sorry for himself. However, as he stepped out along the road, he saw his friend the fox again. "What did I tell you?" said the fox. "All this trouble came about because you didn't listen to me. Well, never mind, I'm here now, and I'll tell you how to find the golden horse. Come with me, and I'll take you to a castle where the horse is in the stable. There are several grooms there, but they're all fast asleep outside, so you'll be able to lead the horse out without any problem. But mind you, put the plain old leather saddle on him and not the golden one you'll find there. Otherwise, trouble." The fox stretched out his tail, the prince sat on his back, and off they set, so fast that the wind whistled in the prince's hair. They reached the castle where everything was as the fox had said. The prince entered the stable and found the golden horse, so beautiful that he had to shade his eyes, and as he looked around for the saddle, he thought it would be ridiculous to put the old battered leather one on, when there was such a beautiful golden one just waiting to be used. So he put the golden one on. The horse neighed loudly. The grooms woke up. They seized the prince. He was sentenced to death, and the king of that castle spared his life too. The condition this time was that he had to bring back the golden princess from the golden castle. And off set the prince with a heavy heart once more, and once more he met the faithful fox. "You're a difficult man to help," said the fox. "I should really leave you to get on by yourself, but I feel sorry for you. The path we're on leads directly to the golden castle. We'll get there in the evening, and when it's dark and everything's quiet, the golden princess will go to the bathhouse to bathe. What you must do is run up as soon as you see her and kiss her. Once you've done that, she'll follow you, and you can take her anywhere, but you mustn't allow her to say goodbye to her parents. If you do that, it'll all go wrong." The fox stretched out his tail, and the prince sat on his back, and off they went, the wind whistling through the prince's hair. They soon arrived at the golden castle, where everything was as the fox had said it would be. The prince hid until midnight, and when everyone else was asleep, the princess went to the bathhouse. The prince ran up and kissed her, and she said she'd gladly go anywhere in the world with him, but first she must bid farewell to her mother and father. She begged him, she implored him, she wept, and although he resisted her pleas at first, she was so beautiful and such distress that he finally gave in. Naturally, as soon as she approached the royal bed, the king woke up, so did everyone else in the palace. The prince was seized and thrown into prison, and the next morning he was brought before the king. "Your life is worth nothing, young man," said the king. "I'd have put you to death at once, but there's a task that needs doing, and if you can do it, I'll spare your life. Out of my window there is a mountain that blocks the view. Take that away within 7 days, and the princess is yours. Otherwise, you'll lose your head." They gave the prince a shovel, and he set to work at once, but when 6 days had gone by, he stood back and looked at what he'd done. His heart sank. He'd hardly made any difference at all. However, he kept on shoveling all through the 7th day until the evening. At that point, the fox appeared again. "I don't know why I bother," he said. "You don't deserve any help, but I've got a soft spot for you. Go to bed, and I'll move the mountain." The next morning, when the prince woke up and looked out the window, he saw that the mountain had vanished. Full of joy, he rushed to the king. "Your Majesty, I've done it. The mountain is gone." The king looked out of the window, and he couldn't deny it. The mountain had vanished. "Very well," he said. "Whether I like it or not, I shall keep my word. You may take my daughter." So the young prince and the golden princess set off together, and soon the faithful fox had joined them. "You've got the best of all prizes right here," said the fox, "but the golden princess needs the golden horse." "How can I get that?" said the prince. "I'll tell you, and listen to me this time," said the fox. "First you must take the princess to the king who sent you to fetch her. There will be great celebrations, and they'll gladly let you have the golden horse. When they bring it out, you must mount it straight away, and then shake hands with everyone and say goodbye. Make sure you shake hands with the Golden Princess last of all, and when you've got her hand in yours, swing her up behind you and gallop away at once. No one can possibly catch you because the horse goes faster than the wind. Everything went as the fox had said, the celebrations, the gift of the horse, and the handshaking, the escape. The fox went with them, and when they slowed down at last, he said, "You did as I told you. Good. Now I'll help you get the golden bird. When you get near the castle where the bird is kept, let the princess down from the horse. I'll look after her while you do the rest. You must ride the horse into the courtyard, and everyone will rejoice when they see it. And they'll bring out the golden bird for you. As soon as you have the cage in your hands, set off like the wind and come back for the princess." That plan worked as well. Now that the prince had all the treasures he wanted, he got ready to set off for home. But the fox said, "Before you go, I'd like a reward for all the help I've given you." "Of course," said the prince. "What would you like?" "When we come to the forest, I'd like you to shoot me dead and cut off my head and my paws." "That would be a strange form of gratitude," said the prince. "I couldn't possibly do that." "Well, if you won't do it, I'll have to leave you, but I'll give you a last piece of advice. There are two things you have to be aware of. Don't buy any gallows meat, and don't sit on the edge of a well." When he said that, the fox ran off into the forest. The prince thought, what a strange animal to have such ideas. Who'd buy gallows meat, and I've never wanted to sit on the edge of a well. He went on his way with the beautiful princess, and before long they came to the village where his two brothers had stayed behind. There he found a crowd gathering with a lot of noise and commotion, and when he asked what was going on, he was told that two men were about to be hanged. He pushed his way through and found that the two men were his own brothers. They had run through all their money and got up to all kinds of wickedness. The young prince asked if there was any way they could be pardoned. "Well, you can buy their freedom," he was told, "but why spend good money on saving such wretches?" He didn't hesitate. He paid over the money and bought their freedom, and his brothers were unshackled with strict warnings not to visit that village ever again. Then they set off, and after a brisk morning's travel, they came to the forest where they had first met the fox. The sun was hot, and since it was pleasantly cool under the trees, the brothers said, "Let's rest here a little. Look, we can get some water from the well." The young prince agreed. He forgot the fox's warning and sat down on the rim of the well, suspecting nothing. In a moment the two brothers pushed him into the well and made off with the princess, the horse, and the bird, and took them to their father. "See, father," they said, "not only the bird, but the golden horse and the princess from the golden castle as well. Not bad, eh?" The king ordered a great celebration, but observant courtiers noticed that the horse refused to eat, the bird wouldn't sing, and the princess could do nothing but sit and weep. Meanwhile, what of the youngest brother? He didn't drown because the well was dry, and he didn't break any bones because it was full of moss. He sat at the bottom puzzling how to get out, and he was at his wits' end when the faithful fox appeared once more. He jumped down the well and scolded the prince. "What did I tell you?" he said. "Well, I suppose I should have expected it. Never mind. I won't leave you down here. Get a hold of my tail and hang on tight." The prince did, and a minute later he clambered out after the fox and brushed himself down. "Now you're not out of danger yet," said the fox. "Your brothers weren't sure that you died in the wells, so they've stationed guards all around the forest with orders to shoot you on sight." They set off, and presently the prince came across a poor man and exchanged clothes with him. In that way he'd managed to get to the court without being recognized. As soon as he came in, the birds started singing, the horse began to eat, and the beautiful princess stopped crying. The king was amazed. "What does this mean?" he said. "I don't know," said the princess. "I was sad, and now I am joyful. I feel as happy as if my bridegroom had come." She told the king everything that had happened, defying the brothers who had threatened to kill her if she revealed the truth. The king ordered the whole court to gather, and the young prince was there too, in the rags he got from the poor man. The princess recognized him at once and ran to embrace him, and the wicked brothers were seized and put to death. The young prince was married to the princess and appointed heir to the king. But what about the poor fox? One day, a long time afterwards, the prince happened to be walking in the forest when he came across his old friend, who said, "You've got everything you want now, but I've had nothing but bad luck for years, and you refused to set me free, even though I asked you to." And once again the fox begged the prince to shoot him and cut off his head and his paws. This time the prince did it, and as soon as it was done, the fox changed into none other than the brother of the princess, released at last from a spell that had been cast over him, and from then on nothing was missing from their happiness as long as they lived. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to look out for more from Suwannee River Regional Library in the future.